If anyone is in a good mood today, then I ask you two things. Leave a comment below, let me know what you thought of the game. I'm going to be going through a lot of different areas in this, going to be unpacking Liverpool in previous games, Liverpool in this game, lots of different things. This is a bit of an unpacking video, a good moment to just sit in the sun and enjoy it, but also say, hey, while we're feeling good, should we get some of these feelings out? And then on top of that, this video is also sponsored by, that's right, Surfshark. If you could hit that link in the description, if you've not already signed up, I'd really appreciate it. You can obviously do whatever you need to. I know you probably already know about Surfshark, but watch this. And then let's get into some Liverpool analysis. Really, oh goodness, love you guys.
As you've seen, we've been working really hard on the channel recently to try and get it to a level where we can get sponsors. And Surfshark have stepped in and stepped up.
Yeah, the internet can be a dark, dark place. You don't want to leave yourself exposed online.
Where bad guys can hide in the wardrobe and spy on you while you do all your online shopping. That was a wardrobe, not a closet. You already know what a VPN is unless you've never been on YouTube before and you've never seen any ad integrations for, well, Surfshark. The point is that a virtual private network allows you to browse the internet virtually anonymously. But beyond a cute name and a safer connection to the internet, what does Surfshark actually provide you? I'm not in England right now. Look, oh wait. What do you think?
There's got to be someone in this traffic jam with a Surfshark account. I'd almost guarantee it. Definitely someone on this bus with a Surfshark account. Someone in that building could be spying on you.
All right, fine, I'm in Poland, but at the moment I really want to get the internet back in the UK. Get on Surfshark and click that I want to be located in London, and there you go. My Netflix is all available with the English shows, and there are loads of other services that require you to be in the UK on the internet to get them. This is one of those times where Surfshark came in clutch. I'll admit I didn't even know what Surfshark Alert is, but Surfshark Alert does exactly that. If you enter your ID, email, or credit card details into Surfshark, then whenever there is a breach of one of those things online, which hopefully doesn't ever happen, it tells you when one of those things has been breached. I've actually used this feature to protect myself against credit card fraud, one of the most stressful situations you can ever find yourself in. Not only that, but it's across unlimited devices, so not only can it be on my phone, but it's also on my laptop. Listen, I know that you've heard all the spiel before, but if you haven't ever considered a VPN until this point, then small channels like this rely on sponsorships. If you want to go and take a look at all the range of things that they offer alongside what I've just laid out, then go and take a look at the link down in the description where it gets you 83% off. That's right, 83% off, 83 and 3 months for absolutely free. So thanks Surfshark for sponsoring this video and helping me out while I'm away here. Let's get back to the football.
Oh boy, what a game. What a game, what a game. Welcome back to Lawrence McKenna channel. It's good to have you guys. Listen, there's a lot to unpack in this bit that we're about to do here. And I'll be honest, I'm a little giddy. It's been a weird weekend. A weird weekend in football. Teams without the majority of possession, it turns out, can win a game. 2-1 away from home at possibly the hardest place to go to. We're about to unpack why this is good, but also, really, is it a sign of where Liverpool are going? There are elements which I think we need to flesh out, right? Because don't get me wrong, guys. I think there's going to be a lot of coverage of this. I think a lot of it will be basic and reductive and possibly even find the negatives, and I mean major negatives, against Liverpool in this game. So just get ready for it. Get ready for the tsunami of stuff which is coming Liverpool's way in the next couple of days, all right? Because I'm not saying, I don't think there's some overall agenda against Liverpool. I just genuinely think some people just don't know how to cover a club that's legendary. It's just... Darwin Núñez came off the bench in the second half to make himself the first ever Liverpool player in the Premier League era to score the equaliser and the winning goal. Don't even need to talk about that. Do we? Well, we will, but not yet. Liverpool have started games weirdly over the last couple of weeks, and it has only been a couple of games. The Chelsea game, actually in the first half, Liverpool had Chelsea on the back foot. They didn't look more confident, but Liverpool certainly knew that there was a game plan that they had to go out there and enact. Then, differently, in the Bournemouth game, obviously, I mean, I'll lay this out positionally in a second, it went the other way, and Bournemouth actually surprised Liverpoall. Now, there's a couple of kind of overall narratives here I think we need to cover. First of all is Liverpool's build-up play. This is how Liverpool started this game. They brought Wataru Endo into the midfield, and Dominik Szoboszlai started either side. Obviously, Trent was going to be dropping in, and he actually dropped into this kind of position rather than that kind of position, which led to Liverpool's first goal. led to Newcastle's first goal. Just give me a minute. Early on, Trent gets a yellow. I think, weirdly, this would have been the talking point from the game if Liverpool had gone on to lose the game. Weirdly, they've kind of flipped it now. But let's just talk about it just for a second. Trent is vice-captain at Liverpool. I think his leadership skills, the fact that his head's in the game sometimes, the fact that sometimes it looks as if he's almost Steven Gerrarding himself, where the occasion feels massive and he's trying to play up to it, he's trying to needle it a little bit. There is an element of that in there as well. But early on, he got a yellow card. I'm not sure, I get it, but also I think it was a foul on Trent. I get the frustration. I'm not quite sure why the referee didn't call it. It seemed like a very evident foul to call, right? Then there is another difficult call for the referee to make. He's already given Trent Alexander-Arnold a yellow card on the back of not giving him a foul and then him having the frustration around that. I can understand the frustration. I think the referee is trying to play a human game there to an extent. I get it. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I get that the referees have good intentions. I don't think they're bad. Do I think they're bad people? I don't think they're bad people. But what I do think is happening is that a lot of the time there are compromises being made in games where referees are, they don't, some people call it main character syndrome or whatever it is. I think a lot of the time there are just big decisions for these guys to make. And weirdly, the coverage is focusing on the referee's decision rather than unpacking the technicalities behind it and explaining those things. Now I get it, it's all good for us to be paranoid. And I think it doesn't, if I'm honest, doesn't come across great as a fan base. If you're a paranoid fan base, right? You just look dumb. You just look a bit out of touch with everyone else because everyone else can then just hand you the L. But I think it did cumulatively then lead to Trent not getting a second yellow because you can't give him a second yellow. It's a big decision to make in a couple of minutes, right? Especially in a big game like this where you're trying to get a bit of balance, sets a precedent, which then you can't really keep up, which really he didn't keep up. And he lost control of the game very early on. Van Dijk then, he doesn't clear out Isak, but he definitely goes through the foot at the same time as he goes through the ball. And that's generous. I don't think either angle really cleared it up. And I think that really, ultimately, they ended up going with the referee's decision because they couldn't find compelling evidence the other way. Now, there was this theory that it's not a red if you're outside the area and all these kind of things. I think that's to do with another rule out there. I know you're just fiending for me to get to the actual good part of this, but just let me unpack and lay the foundations for what is a satisfying Liverpool win. Virgil van Dijk then goes off, obviously. His abuse of the officials, I can understand that, but also at the same time, it was a red. It's a red card, you've got to get off the pitch, you're club captain. To an extent, I think they know Newcastle is a difficult place to go. Liverpool wanted to get out there and prove themselves. They were frustrated after the Chelsea game, and then he wants to make a good impression. I think ultimately, weirdly, it was weird to see Van Dijk in that position. That's probably because of the formation that Liverpool are playing, the fact that they're playing Joel Matip ahead of playing someone like Konate because Konate is obviously injured. There were a lot of cumulative things running side by side here, right? Which led to Van Dijk's red card. That may even be extended, by the way, because of the way that he got in the official's face, the referee's face, and then the fourth official's face as well. And we know litigiousness, it's a trait. All right? Just saying, it's a trait. On comes Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez and Matip do not get enough credit, as far as I'm concerned, in this game, right? Newcastle didn't have many shots after this. It wasn't like they were raining down on Liverpool's goal, but they didn't have many shots after this. And ultimately, when you look at some of the substitutes, this is how Liverpool started the previous. This is how Liverpool started the previous game, right? I think this is actually the Chelsea game. This is roughly where Liverpool wanted to be. They wanted someone who was running through the middle, someone who was coming a little bit deeper, two kind of sixes come eights. Really, McAllister is an 8 there, and Hakpa really should be further up, but we know he had to play this kind of weird role. You can't really take much tactically from that. But what you've got later on there is Nunez coming on, Liverpool changing shape a little bit. There's almost a diamond in there, and it's not a 4-4-2, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm alluding to here. Let me just delete that. Next game, they start off, they go. This is almost more like a 4-4-2, but it's almost more like a 4-4-2 diamond, but it's not quite that. But you see where we're going with this. There's a different shape. There is a box of sorts in that Liverpool midfield. What some people are calling, is that a parallelogram? Like a shifted box? But it's not. It does still allow Liverpool some decent passing options. I think Liverpool early on were very sloppy in terms of their passing, right? Again, we're looking at more of a 4-4-2, or more like a 4-2-4. Do you see where we're going with this? Anyway, we'll get on back to that in a second. Alisson then makes a huge save. And I mean, like, that's why you spend the money on a goalkeeper like Alisson. That's not a picture of him celebrating that. He's just gorgeous. Bit of a less of a beard today. I'm not saying I look like Alisson, but I feel like I look better with a beard than without. Alisson suffers from a similar thing where it's like, you don't have a doughy face, but you just don't know what it is. Do you know what I mean? Oh, God, that was satisfying, wasn't it? Anyway, I don't know why I'm laughing. Liverpool bought on Joe Gomez. I still want to go back to this Joe Gomez, right? Gomez has had a troubled time at Liverpool recently. I was at the Napoli game where Joe Gomez it didn't capitulate, but he had a very difficult game in Naples. He gave the ball away twice. I think the mental fortitude that Joe Gomez has shown within this Liverpool team to not be first choice, to be seen as the fourth choice, an emasculating or slightly embarrassing possibly situation when they bring in another centre-back, and you were the guy who was Virgil van Dijk's partner at that point. I can't imagine what mentally that must do to a player. I can't rain down enough praise on Joe Gomez for doing what Joe Gomez has done. I genuinely looked at and evaluated Joe Gomez last season and thought, I'm not sure how many people make it through the situation that Joe Gomez found himself at Liverpool, without a manager like Klopp, without the teammates around him, without having the support, and also just being mentally so strong. A lot of people talk about that with Virgil van Dijk. I don't think they talk about it enough with Joe Gomez. He came in and he had a huge game for Liverpool today. And I mean a huge game. The save from Alisson, sure. But to come in with Virgil van Dijk being club captain, being so important to the formation, being so dominating, we don't really know who's the A and the B side with Joe Gomez and Joel Matip. Joel Matip probably more of an A side, but really, is it Joe Gomez in there? Later on, Quansah comes on. I like that as an integrated formation, right? I'm excited to see what he does. Liverpool held on up until half-time. Newcastle hardly made the most of it. I think Newcastle, mainly because of the goal that Gordon had scored, which came from Trent's mistake, because I think Newcastle was getting in their heads, basically meant that Liverpool were in a position where it was like, right, we're down to 10 men, we're 1-0 down. We kind of had to bide our time. I think Liverpool played in this almost frustratingly confident fashion for Newcastle because they knew that there was a game plan in place. They know that later on they can stretch the play. They know they've got someone, due to the previous weeks where they're bought on someone like, where is it there? Like Nunez, and look at that. Like Nunez, and look at that. The game state changes when Nunez comes on. The game state changes when Jota comes on. Liverpool don't necessarily have game changers in the sense of it being like, actually, what the hell am I talking about? Yeah, they're not perceived as game changers, but they are game changers. These two guys right here, Jota and Nunez, are game-changing players that Klopp knows he can deploy later on in a match. When people are tired, when people are out of shape, when people have not adjusted to Liverpool's formation, all these kind of things. These are units that we're talking about here. And I mean units in terms of their build, but also these are units of players that they bring on to shift where Liverpool are putting their emphasis. First half. Second half, the change that Klopp brought in, the fact that, hold this, Eddie Howe didn't keep up with the changes that Klopp was making, even though Liverpool were down to 10 men, even though Liverpool were probably on the back foot, though narratively really on the back foot, actually played better with 10 men, have actually played better with 10 men twice now in 2 games. You can maybe appeal the Van Dijk red card, but I don't think it helps your case. Then they bring on Jota. I think Jota is so key in what happens with the Darwin Nunez state after that. This is almost an old school Liverpool feeling at this point. Look at that midfield. Harvey Elliott is huge to that as well. So is Jota, so is Nunez. These were inspired subs that Liverpool make. They go from being this, we're actually relatively narrow, trying to play some compacted play, but Newcastle have done the same. They've compacted their play, and they've brought the midfield in to try and block out Liverpool, make Liverpool go wide. Liverpool can't really go as wide. Robertson is looking quite isolated out on that wing. There's not many options out there for Trent on the other wing. Obviously, Diaz had to come off. And, I get it. Like, you've got to sacrifice one player. But ultimately, Van Dijk just stays here, by the way, because he got subbed off. So he's sort of like some sort of ghost on the field, frustratingly. But there he is. Just put like your hand over it or something. The point is, Liverpool hung on. And there was an interview earlier in the week with Szoboszlai where he said, I think we will finish above City. And there have been times in the past where Liverpool players, Dejan Lovren, those kind of players, have made silly comments that have come back to haunt them. Now, over the course of a season, maybe those comments will come back to bite Szoboszlai. But at the same time, it shows the level of confidence, it shows the level of drive, I think it shows the level of commitment. And you look at Szoboszlai's position there, and you look at Szoboszlai's position here, and you see how key he is to Liverpool's play. This average position doesn't really tell you all that much of a story, but his heat map will be spread out across the field because he was having touches all over. His combination play, his shadow, the pressure that he's putting on people. Endo, similarly, the pressure he's putting on people. People make bad passes due to that. And I don't know if there is currently a mainstream statistic which shows how Szoboszlai, Endo, possibly even Poe and McAllister combine to pressure the opposition into making the pass they don't want to make. First half, that was the case. Second half, I think Liverpool took control of the game even with 10 men, and Newcastle didn't know how to counteract that. Weirdly, because they've got someone like Tonali in midfield who should be keeping them on track at this point, right? So Tonali, I think the few times he got the better of them. I think Guimaraes also got the better of Liverpool's midfield at times, but it was also because they were numerically superior, right? They had the extra pass that Liverpool just didn't have. Liverpool should not have won this game. Liverpool had no right to go out there and win this game. Newcastle is one of the hardest places to go to right now, and this Liverpool side, down to 10 men, went out there and taught Eddie Howe and every other Newcastle player a lesson today. Anthony Gordon, when he scored that goal, thought, we've got this. You could see that Guimaraes was enjoying playing Liverpool. Tonali was enjoying playing at the top table of Premier League football. Well, guess what? It's more difficult than you thought. I think those guys went into cruise control after that. Liverpool down to 10 men, players losing their heads. And this is the thing with Liverpool this season. There is a Jekyll and Hyde type scenario which often has bitten Liverpool in previous seasons. But hey, it also bites the opposition sometimes because Liverpool go, oh, look, suddenly we can combine. The combination play between Salah, Nunez and Jota at one point was insanely good. They were counter-attacking and transitioning, like maybe in previous years they'd done under Jurgen Klopp, and getting much more joy than the build-up play, which Liverpool players still feel maybe at times looked a little stilted, at times still looked a little clunky, at times still looked a little bit like, oh, wait for the numbers to catch up with me, wait for this, wait for that. And that will have been the frustration for Liverpool. I guess there is a transitional learning period here that Liverpool players will have to go through. It's days like today where you really look at someone like Salah and you go, you know what, what a key game he had for Liverpool today. There were times where I think Liverpool needed to hold the ball and he really helped with that. I don't still think he's the most comfortable player. He doesn't make me feel comfortable. He doesn't pass the eye test with his back to goal, but he does pass the overall test, I think, in terms of he gritted his teeth, got Liverpool through this game. And if that is his last game in a Liverpool shirt, as has been reported, in Saudi, then what a game. What a game to finish your Liverpool career on, right? Especially as I think it's 6 years ago to the day that Liverpool signed Mo Salah. Seems like way longer. He's a Liverpool legend at this point. Hold that. This is where I think there is also the difference between Liverpool's squad depth and Eddie Howe's squad depth. Eddie Howe didn't have the options to bring often onto the pitch because they haven't brought in the depth that they needed in terms of those players. Now, I get it, there is still depth in the side. There's Anderson, there's Gordon, there are players who are able to side Liverpool open. There's Guimaraes, there's Longstaff, there's, Tonali obviously should be playing a full 90 and be bossing that midfield, absolutely. But you get what I'm saying here. There's like a full complement of players there that Eddie Howe should be able to shift the game with. But at the moment, I'm not quite sure he has that game-shifting ability. Now, I can only say that with the benefit of hindsight. But Newcastle did not take it enough to Liverpool. Liverpool had the finishes, had those deadly finishes. Nunez came on, finished twice, low to Pope's right, obviously Darwin's left, finished really beautifully into the away end. Oh God, it is incredible stuff. And Liverpool are a satisfying team to watch when they're in full flow. But the problem is that at the moment, the flow is difficult to get to. But I think today there are flashes of what we understand Liverpool to be. What we understand the core, the nucleus, the DNA of what Liverpool can achieve. This is a huge win against a Champions League team for a team that are not a Champions League side right now, for a team who should be a Champions League side, for a team who are suffering because they're not a Champions League side, for a team who suffered because of a cumulative level of underperformance in key moments. But there are a couple of big players today, big in terms of peripheral big players who stepped up. Joel Matip, Joe Gomez, Endo, I think had an interesting game. I'll be interested. I will cover that later in the weekend because I want to be able to go and look at that heat map, look at what he does. I think his shadow is huge. I think Liverpool, a couple of seasons ago, Jurgen Klopp came in, almost 7 or 8 seasons ago. Klopp came in and changed shadow play in the Premier League. He brought in a much more intense level of pressing, and that set a precedent. In the same way that Pep came in and changed passing in the league. And people have been forced to shift towards this pressing, passing type game. And it's fundamentally moved forward what we understand these kind of things to be in the Premier League, right? I'm going to chat about this more on the podcast with Jamie later in the week, but what we understand is that this Liverpool midfield now, the shape, the way it works, I'm still slightly unconvinced by it because there are times where I think other teams play to their strengths and Liverpool aren't able to keep up with it. But broadly, I think what it does is try to push the opposition, shepherd the opposition into positions they don't want to be in. And whilst the other team keep possession and it's not this harrying like Liverpool side that hunt and packs 24/7 throughout the game, and there isn't the same level of intensity because Liverpool are a bit happier to sit off and win it back in other ways. I think Liverpool are learning that patience, and as a fan base, Liverpool will have to learn that patience too. There's probably something I've missed in this because I got up at 3 a.m. to fly back from Poland. Secondly, I've just watched such a great win for Liverpool. That is a famous away Liverpool win for Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool here. What I am reticent to do is to go, oh yeah, you know what, I think this is the moment where Liverpool kick on for the rest of the season. Too many times we flagged that last season. Too many times we go, this is the moment when. I think this is proof of what Liverpool are capable of. Weirdly, I think it shows we're good when we go down to 10 men. I think it shows that there is an element of Liverpool needing to almost throw the shackles off of some of the misunderstandings or misapplication of some of the tactics that aren't quite working or are maybe just inhibiting Liverpool players because they don't feel that they're quite there. They're more there and they're trying to do them, if that makes sense. Klopp talking about the stomach when he first came in and playing with your gut. What does the Liverpool team do to play with their gut, would be what I would say. Anyway, I'm gassed. Oh, wow. This Liverpool team have got the application and the talent, but Eddie Howe will feel as if this game slipped away from him. Do not take this as the game which is a moment-defining, a season-defining win, but enjoy it. There is so much negative press around Liverpool right now. There is so much, oh, what if? There are people saying, Liverpool players aren't happy, which I think, some of them may be a little bit frustrated. There are players who are confused by the transfer policy. Sure, I'd imagine so. But Jurgen Klopp has a job to do, and as fans, there are almost 2 agendas. Make sure the club is running the best way, and also make sure they perform out on the pitch alongside that. It doesn't have to nosedive a season because everything hasn't gone well in the transfer window. You don't lose a season there, you win a season based on the way you put your squad together and the way you maximise the combined set of pieces. Just because other teams are going down different transfer routes and there are different trendy transfer routes, which I think maybe Liverpool are a little bit outmoded at the moment, but there are other trendy transfer routes. Don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater at this point and just go, everything's just over, Liverpool, useless, we can't win anything, no reason we can get top 4, we're back to mid-table, blah, blah, blah. Head down. No, head up. Head up. Enjoy it, guys. They will be missing Virgil van Dijk in the next couple of games. Not great. But at the same time, Liverpool will want to capitalise on the fact that this was a great away win. Don't go into the next game and let your head drop. Don't go into the next game and, kind of not lose that momentum. There may be a momentum-killing transfer in the next couple of days where Mo Salah leaves Liverpool. In my head, I don't really know. In my heart, I don't really know how to judge it. In my head, I know how to judge it. There's another video. I'll put it up in the eye. I don't think it would kill Liverpool's momentum, but I think there have been a couple of players who have left where Liverpool have kind of gone, yeah, you can leave, but they've also gone, yeah, where are we really going? This Liverpool side at the moment are doing similar to what they did a couple of years ago, building themselves up. This is the beginning of it. The problem is, at the moment, Arsenal maintaining that momentum City maintaining that momentum. City are the best team in the world right now. Keeping up with them it's a wazi, it's a woozy, you know? Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I'll probably make another video about this. We're gonna unpack a little bit of it. God, it was satisfying though, wasn't it? I haven't even mentioned Szoboszlai. When you go down to 10 men and you have someone like Szoboszlai on your side, boy, are you lucky. When you have someone like McAllister, when you have Endo, by the way, getting Endo in a game like this, Stuttgart were constantly on the back foot last season. Endo's the kind of player who can sit back, soak up some of that pressure, let players just play near. I know that a couple of people went past him, but I just don't think he's being asked to kind of harry in that same way, although I do think he is still adapting to the Premier League pace and the Premier League physicality and all these kind of things. I think he's adapting though. That midfield is still finding its shape, it's still finding its roles, but broadly, the effort that these players are putting in, the gumption that they're showing is something that I enjoy. And I think we've got to play into those positives this season. You know, Trent could have had his head down. He ended the game as Liverpool captain. It must be satisfying to turn things around like that for Trent. Trent, congratulations. Of course he watches the videos. Weird, frustrating day. So hot in this room. Alison, you big boy. I love you guys. Thanks a lot for watching the channel. We're almost at 73K, by the way. Are we on our way to 100? Are we on our way to being a meaningful YouTube channel, guys? Have Liverpool just shown me that even though your head goes down at some point, it can come back up, we can turn this into a win? Come on. Really interesting stuff. Good God. Yeah. Really enjoying this time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you guys in a while. Much love.